Hello and welcome back to Dave's Post-Apocalyptic World, Season 3, the Frozen series. And you know why? Because we're here in an old abandoned schoolhouse building, kind of making a home out of it. And the building has been frozen for weeks now, actually, literally. And if we go into the kitchen here, just for a second, we'll find that we can actually keep frozen vegetables out, my frozen blueberries for my morning smoothie. And if we can take a quick look here at the temperature, it's about -4 degrees-ish, and that's indoors. So we're prepared for this. It's not our first year. And to take a look at some of these pipes we have here, we're going to use this fun little gizmo here, which is an infrared camera attached to your phone here. And here we can follow where the heat is and isn't. So we are using some heat tape to keep some of our pipes from freezing. But another thing that we do is this time of year, we'll actually blow out some of the pipes. So here we've got a contraption where we can shut off the water and turn on a valve so that we can use our little pancake pressurizer to blow out the pipes. And this makes it so that when the water freezes in the winter and then thaws back out, we don't have things breaking and flooding the place. And another place that we do this is the second bathroom. So this is the non-freezing weather bathroom. And in the past, when I didn't blow out the pipes, they would freeze in the winter and then something would break. And when it came to thawing time, we might have a big flood. So today, everything's open and empty, and we will reinstate the water once the freezing temperatures have gone. So in this video, I'll show you 3 tricks to keep your pipes from freezing. The first one is to literally cut off the area where you won't be using water or they don't have heat tape on them. And it's kind of like how our bodies work with cutting off circulation to the extremities when it gets really cold. And we have what are called shunts in our extremities, our legs and our feet, where when it gets colder, the body knows to not waste energy in trying to keep those areas warm in order to preserve the rest of the body. So it's kind of like that. And for this, again, we're going to use our pancake pressurizer and blow out some pipes. The next trick that we're going to look into is this heat tape. And so this is where I brought my infrared handy dandy trusty camera, and we can actually trace where the pipes are being heated or non-frozen. It actually looks hotter than it is. That's because it's so cold outside of them in comparison. But here we can see that all this area here is not going to freeze. Even here where there is no heat tape. And the experiment we're going to run today is we're going to actually cut off the circulation. And the third tip to have your pipes not freeze in the winter is to have just a little bit of a trickle of a circulation. Come here, I'll show you what I mean. So here is the bathroom, which I keep a little bit heated, just enough that the pipes don't freeze. So there's no heat tape in here, and that's okay. But the secret is that we've got a homemade bidet here, and I keep that running on a very, very small trickle. And you can actually see the trickle in the infrared here. And this makes it so that even some of the areas that don't have heat tape on them, the circulation from the water of the heated part goes through the parts that are not heat taped and prevents them from freezing. So we're gonna run a fun experiment today, and we're gonna shut off the trickling to the bidet toilet for just a few minutes and see what happens to those pipes, because in the past I have had the pipes freeze, and it's a lot easier to prevent the freezing than trying to get a hairdryer afterwards and try to thaw out your pipes. But I learned that the hard way. So next we're going to venture down to the basement and see where it all starts, and also how I heat tape about 50 to 100 feet of pipe to enter here. So come on, let's go to the basement. So we are now down in the basement of the scary schoolhouse. It's all sorts of neat things here, including this bottomless pit, I guess, or some kind of a well. And looks like some lotion in the basket. Weird. So this is where it all starts. I actually had the water installed. Fun fact, this schoolhouse did not have public water in it. The water came from a nearby farm, and so when I purchased it without any kind of inspection, I didn't know that there was no water. But now we've got a modern water system, and let's go ahead and see where we are temperature-wise. So we can see where the red means that it's a little bit warmer than the outside temperature, just enough not to freeze. So we've got heat tape and pool noodles as insulation also. And as we follow down here, we can see that although it's probably pretty cold, especially this thing, that we are not freezing, so that's good news. So now we're gonna follow the line all the way back upstairs and turn off the water bidet to see what effect the trickling has on the overall temperature of the water pipe, because not all of the pipe going up is actually touching the heat tape. And so this may be interesting. This is where I've got a water hose hooked up to this sink so that when I do my 3D printed works, but I forgot to turn off this valve. And what happened is that the water here froze, and when it thawed out for a day or so, this actually broke and there was flooding all over here. So this is why we want to either make sure things are flowing or that they're cut off and open in case it freezes. And we learned the hard way. Okay, so this is what it looks like right after I turned off the water bidet. And we're going to come back in a few minutes to see what that looks like with just that little trickle turned off. So we are back in the basement with our handy dandy infrared camera to see what happens when we turn off that tiny trickle in the bidet toilet. And careful here, looks like some kind of a pit or well or something, and a basket. Hey, let's go this way. So now we're going to look at if there's any difference when we turned off the trickling. So here we've got a nice heat tape going all the way up to the wall, and that should make sure that there's no freezing whatsoever. It's only been 30 minutes. Let's go upstairs now and see if there's any gaps we can notice. Okay, so we are back upstairs. Let's have a look at what a few minutes, like about half an hour of turning off the tiny trickle effect in the toilet bidet has on the temperature of our pipe. So where there's heat tape, it's still very strong, but this time we don't have the trickle coming all the way from the source to up here, so everything is about the same as long as there's the heat tape. And here's the big difference here. So we get to a point where the heat tape stops, and with the trickle before, if we compare the two images, we had the slightly heated water from the heat tape flow through this area here, and in the past this is where we might have some freezing. And that shows you just a little bit of trickling, what that might do. Let's go ahead and turn that back on and see if we can actually watch it come back to life. So here we just turned on the bidet. So what would happen here now is that very small amount of water going from room temperature, which would be frozen in this case, to, and we're back in business. So it's really nice to see graphically what a little bit of a trickle does to the overall non-freezability of your whole system. And one more fun fact, the bidet is a much better solution to the trickling effect than just opening up the faucet, let's say in the main room, because that actually invites the cats to kind of jump all over the counters and the dishes because they're very attracted to that trickle. So having the bidet slightly trickling with the seat down makes it a one-stop solution. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you like what you see, and we will bring you more videos at Days Post-Apocalyptic World.